very good evening and welcome to BizFirst in Focus. The inaugural Robotic Process Automation Forum here in Sri Lanka will be held on the 13th of February. What exactly is RPA and who are the people who are behind organizing this massive event here in Sri Lanka? We've got with us here today in the studios Rohit Pradeep, the co-chair of BPM Forum, SLASCOM, as well as Buddhi Chandrasena, General Council member of BPM Forum, SLASCOM as well. A very good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So first things first, what exactly is SLASCOM? What does SLASCOM stand for? And what are the objectives of this organization?
Sure. So SLASCOM is the Sri Lankan Association for Software and Services Companies in Sri Lanka. It's currently headed by Mr. Jeevan Yanam, who is also a visionary entrepreneur and very involved in the local entrepreneurship scene here. So the primary objectives of SLASCOM is basically to help sort of bring up the software and IT services industry here in Sri Lanka by implementing initiatives to support them. And also, on the other side of it, it's basically to also represent the interests of the industry to the government as well. So it has very ambitious objectives. One is to basically raise the export turnover of this industry. So right now it stands at about $1.2 billion. And we have a goal of reaching $5 billion by 2022. And also basically try and increase the inflow of people into the industry as well. So we have about 75,000 people presently employed in the industry, and we need to bring that up to about 200,000 over there. And also we're looking to focus on the startups as well. So they have an ambition of reaching about 1,000 startups, which they would like to support. And it's not only that, there are also various forums that come to support these initiatives. So we have a capacity building forum, we have a technology forum. So there are various forums that come together to make all these goals achievable.
So Buddhi, what has SLASCOM done throughout the years? These are quite long-reaching objectives.
Yeah, so I think initially, like Rohit said, we set up this this organization to support the industry, represent the industry for the government, and also to go out to the market. The industry is focusing on trying to serve markets like Europe, US, Australia, like those markets. So actually this forum goes and basically promotes Sri Lankan talent and what skills we have into these markets as well. So it continuously working on all these 3-4 dimensions and working on, now if you really look at what they do, the activities are, they are organizing certain events to upskill our talent that we have in the country, and getting various business people together to show this talent, and locally as well as with the overseas. And also they organize certain events that helps the organizations to come together and share best practices, that what one person do better where other person doesn't have the ability to do it, so share it. And as a country, that we need to ensure that we go to the market and sell our talent for Sri Lanka. That's the objective, if you really look at it.
So speaking about the conference, the Robotic Process Automation Conference, what exactly is the objective behind organizing the conference?
So robotics process automation is a very specific technology, right?
But I believe the first question should be, what exactly is RPA?
Yeah, so RPA is robotics process automation, and it's a very specific technology which can develop certain softwares, we call it bots, right, which can mimic the human behavior. As example, let's say there's a set of transactions that need to be entered into a system. What this technology can do is, on behalf of a person, this software can automatically enter this transaction to the system without an human being getting involved. So that's the advantage of it. So it basically automate the work. That's what RPA does. And if you really look at from the overall IT spectrum, it's a very simplified technology where you don't need very high skill technical IT resources to be available to deploy this technology, and with a basic process knowledge. And if you understand some of this platform, there are very specific platforms have been developed to do this. You understand this platform, then you can develop these kind of bots for the industry. So that's the objective. Yeah.
So Rohit, speaking about RPA, how big is the market demand for RPAs?
So globally, it's growing exponentially. So I'd refer to a Deloitte survey that was done last year. So they surveyed close to 400 companies, and 53% responded saying that responded saying that they are now going to initiate the RPA journey. And so And out of those respondents, there were some that already started their journey. And they all said that their experience has been positive. Everything from an ROI perspective, they recovered the investment within 12 months. Their compliance had improved, quality of work had improved, and efficiencies had improved. So that further motivated them to now create bigger budgets to basically automate more processes in their companies. So globally, it's taking off quite fast. So you have companies like UiPath, who is actually the main sponsor of a conference. So they are market leaders. So they dominate the space. But there are other companies like Automation Anywhere, WorkFusion that are now basically getting into the space and creating solutions out there in the market. But locally in Sri Lanka, the uptake has been very slow. So basically, that's why we're having this conference, is basic to catalyze it. So the main thing that we need to address here is to basically enhance the knowledge of the decision makers who need to get involved in such a process, and basically make them understand what technologies are out there and how do they start this journey, and who can they reach out to here in Sri Lanka to basically help them on this RPA journey.
But the RPAs, what kind of areas can RPAs tackle?
So RPAs can start with a very basic data entry process to even going into a cognitive AI-based activities. As example, if I give you a little bit of examples, let's say you want to apply a leave in the when you want to take a leave. So what you do is you go to the application, you put the date range, you say why you're applying the leave, and then you apply it. So this activity actually can be done by automatic software. And up to now, let's say as example, now we do every month a financial statements for a company, which includes transaction processing, analyzing, preparing reports, a particular template, structures, and also generating certain insights. So RPAs actually can go up to that level.
So we are speaking about the RPA conference that will be held here in Sri Lanka on the 13th of February. For more details, stay tuned. We will be back after this short commercial break. Welcome back to Biz First in Focus. If you're joining us just now, we are in discussion about the RPA conference that's going to be here in Sri Lanka, organized by SLASCOM, of course. Getting back to our conversation, Rohit, you were speaking about, about 53% internationally that these companies have already begun their robotic process automation journeys. Technically, they're RPA journeys. How is the situation here in Sri Lanka? Have companies opted for RPAs? Are they trying to opt for RPAs?
Definitely there is interest, but problem is that interest hasn't converted to action.
Okay.
So the uptake, I would say, is very low. I would say maybe even below 10% in the country. We do know there are certain institutions that have started the RPA journey. Some of the consultancies within the country have notified us they have started engaging with certain banks to automate some of their functions. But in general, what has happened is the leadership of these organizations, while they're aware of it, I don't think are investing enough time in exploring what RPA can do for their organizations. They always are thinking in rupees and cents. So problem also with the current situation, in the economic situation in the country, such initiatives are looked as nice to have and not must to have. So that mentality needs to change. They need to kind of open up their minds and see what these technologies can actually do in terms of bringing in efficiencies, in terms of process and also cost. And also the other side of it is investing the time and training their people to get them to understand what it can do for their company. And there are various consultancies out here they can reach out to help them map out that journey for them. So yes, that leadership mindset needs to be very open to that.
So speaking about RPAs again, what are the actual advantages that a company can gain? What is the extra edge that they can get by incorporating RPAs into their systems?
Yes. So if they've got scale, for one, it's the efficiency side of things. So what may have taken you, let's say, a team of 40, if it's manual entry of documents into a system, you could reduce that maybe by 30-40% of your team. So one thing, it frees up your people and costs for that particular process. And for those people, you can basically reskill them for more high value functions in the company, which will add on more revenue for the company and more value in terms of what they contribute in terms of work-wise for the company. So you have companies now globally who are aggressively take on automation. Some companies have basically put aside funds for employees which will be soon out of work due to automation. And they're basically mapping out to them and saying, look, in a few years' time, your job is going to go away to automation technologies, but here are the jobs that you can consider, and some of these companies actually help them reskill themselves. So what needs to happen there for these employees, and this is particularly a message for the youth, where they're going to see the effects of these technologies in their career in time to come. They need to have a very open mindset and have a mindset that is willing to learn, take risk and take on challenges, whereby they need to get out of their comfort zones and basically push themselves, because their careers are going to get disrupted every 2 to 3 to 4 years. And also they need to be multi-skilled, and basically in order to keep themselves relevant in time to come.
Rohit, you were speaking about efficiency, and the one thing that passed my mind was when it comes to government services here in Sri Lanka, the efficiency is lacking massively, even given the fact that we have a massive public sector employee base, about 1.4 to 1.5 million employees in our public sector, but still efficiency is lacking. How can the government of Sri Lanka incorporate RPAs into their systems?
Yeah, definitely. They can basically look at these technologies to see where they can add value in terms of how to fast track certain processes, basically see how they can upscale their employees in those processes to add value there again. They need to be open to the idea and also take on that risk as well. There could, of course, be a backlash in terms of the comfort zones that might be ruffled there. But they should take on this journey and be forward thinking and see how they can incorporate efficiency there.
But in your perspective, do you believe that Sri Lanka is ready for RPA?
I think, I think Sri Lanka is very much ready, because we have the talent. It's nothing about talent. We have brilliant talent within this country, and if you really look at the history, you have enough evidences, and even if you look at today, we have enough evidences around us. We are very slow in adopting new things. I think as a culture that we are very, sometimes we take a little bit of a backseat. We'll watch how it goes with others, and we want to see, how somebody is getting successful.
But that kind of a mindset doesn't help you to become market leaders or to progress before the others.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Rohit also said, that the disruption that the young community goes through right now, that rapid change that every day that happens, if we do not really put our socks up and, be in the road, what will happen is we will miss most of the buses. So that's what we are trying to change through these conferences, that we are trying to talk to large population, share our practices, how people have adopted, and how it's easy to adopt, and what support out there available. That's the messages we want to bring it to the market, because then people will open their doors, and their mindset need to be open, especially the business leaders who are sitting on the top, right? You need to put some dollars on the table to start this journey, and you will not see how your payback is going to come, but we have enough and more examples available in the market to understand how companies have benefited already. We know the story, right? And we need to get into.
Is it only the companies that benefit through the adoption of RPAs?
So primarily, it's like this. Companies are why we talk about companies a lot is in Sri Lanka. The private sector is comparatively competitive and also efficient in certain areas
compared to the public sector.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that the public sector can't adopt. Actually, public sector also have seen in the past is taking an effort to adopt certain technological advancement. As example, the highways, when you go, that your gates automatically opens when you have that automatic card that is being pasted in your car, right? So it is an automation. You actually can it can help to bring down your overall cost of the overall operation of the highway. As example, you need a person to sit over there 24/7 to open the gate, which is not required anymore, right? So you can give a better service and faster service. You don't have to wait in the queue until somebody choose the balance money and give it to you. So these are the advantages. If you want to move with the world in the same speed, we need to ensure that we're getting into this journey. And I strongly believe that Sri Lanka has enough and more talent around it, and we need to open our mindset. We need to unlock our mindset and be get into that journey quickly. So that's what I believe.
So real quick before we go into a short commercial break, Rohit, now you said Sri Lanka is all set for the adoption of robotic process automations, and you said that we have the skill set. But You are a CEO of a company. You work in the corporate sector. How is your interactions with the youth nowadays? How is their mindset when it comes to these sorts of new things, novel things to be adopted here in Sri Lanka?
So I spend a lot of time with them trying to open their eyes to what's going on in the world. So sometimes they're curious, but I think their level of motivation to really go out there and learn for themselves is sometimes lacking. So as a leader of an organization, it's our responsibility to kind of open up their eyes and push themselves to learn, take risks in their career, and
is it fear of risks that keeps holding them back?
More than anything, sometimes there's a sense of entitlement, and sometimes they just don't want to get out there.
It can be called the millennial curse, sense of entitlement.
Probably. And also, some of them don't want to get out of their comfort zone as well. Like for example, there was a guy who came up to me in the office who was, a person I was very fond of, and so he was someone who was very engaged, quite dynamic, but he surprised me by taking on a more cushy job, which did not require much responsibility. But even though I tried to encourage him to, kind of take more challenges, be more dynamic in his career, he didn't seem that motivated. So another objective of this conference as well, we have, inviting universities and some of the youth to come to basically open out their eyes to what kind of technologies are out there, get them curious, catalyze their journey in this technology space, because they are the future of our country. So it's our responsibility as more older people in this generation to kind of prop them up, give them a helping hand, and educate them as much as we can. So that's what SLASCOM is also trying to do. So there are a lot of education initiatives that they're carrying out, working with universities, helping them to basically reconfigure their programs and educate the youth over there. But most importantly is mindset. There's a term called the growth mindset, which needs to be adapted by.
It needs to be inculcated in the youth.
It needs to be inculcated
of our country. Yeah. Of course, keeping your eye on the prize and keeping your eyes open for new horizons is an important factor, and at the RPA conference, this objective will be met as well. We will continue this discussion after a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching BizFest. Welcome back to BizFirst in Focus. Robotic process automation, that has been the subject of our discussion today here at BizFirst in Focus. We're in the final segment of our program. Rohit, once again, getting back to our topic, we were speaking about the challenges that Sri Lanka faces when it comes to adoption of RPA processes. These are, of course, novel technological initiatives. Speaking on this, how important is it for Sri Lanka to adopt things like RPAs?
So, on a global level, very important if we are to keep up with the pace at which global companies are moving. As I mentioned earlier, it's about 53% that are looking at adopting it quite aggressively. So if one of our companies over here, let's say in apparel manufacturing, is not keeping up to the level of automation with their Chinese competitor, we'll be left quite far behind, and catching up with that pace will be a very difficult task. And we live in a quite unforgiving business world. So if you do not catch that window of opportunity with your competitor, you'll be left in the dust.
And of course, Sri Lanka has experienced this firsthand. We're speaking of economic crisis here in the country. About 70 years ago, close to independence, Singapore's Lee Kuan Yew said he wants Singapore to be like Colombo. But today, we are at the current growth rate. If we go at the current growth rate, it'll take us 80 years to get to where Singapore is now, at which point Singapore will be 10 times, 100 times, maybe even better than us. So when it comes to adoption of these RPAs, what exactly is the core issue that keeps on holding us back?
So if you look at what I see is throughout my experience of supporting this industry and the entities in this industry, what I see is that we sometimes don't believe that it's the time. We still think we are not ready, right? But actually the world is moving, so we need to understand that, because I believe that if we have to bring more work, employment into this country, what matters is three things. One is, we need to have capability. So this is one of the key capabilities that somebody who outsources their work look for. And second is we need to be cost competitive. So this help us to be cost competitive in the market compared to certain close competitors like India and China, Philippines, and like that kind of countries. And third is actually people like to put their work in a place where that work will be assured, delivered at the right quality and the right time.
Efficiency.
Right? Which is performance, right? So they actually ensure this technology can assure performance. So these are the three things. That's why it's very important, right? Our companies to adopt and show that we are on this journey, and and come into this journey, because it's very important to showcase to the world. That's what Slaxcom is trying to do.
And we do have the talent. It's just that they need to be catalyzed to kind of have that sense of urgency and keep up with the world.
So basically a change in mindset.
Change in mindset.
So getting back to our discussion on the RPA conference, what exactly is the agenda like, and more importantly, who are the speakers going to be at the conference?
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to have certain platform, the platform provider for these RPA as our platinum sponsor, and top of that we have certain companies who are reputed, who have adopted this technology, has gone through the journey to a certain extent, who are going to share the experience of how it went, what are the things that they got it wrong, how they corrected those journeys, and they're sharing their experiences. And top of that, there's expert panel who's going to sit and sharing and answering certain questions that people have, and then they'll solve their problems and helping them to start. Actually, we want to drive this the kind of environment on that day. You need to start tomorrow. That's what we want to say, right? And also we have at the end, what will happen is some of the companies who have gone through the competition that we did prior to this conference, they are presenting their case studies, the winning case studies, and how they realize the benefits, how they adopted the technology, and things like that we are going to discuss in the conference. So that's the plan for the day. And also it's end of the day, we meet all the people, we engage, we make connections on that day. We would know whom to reach out to if I need to start tomorrow. So that's the key message that we want to pass out on that particular day.
So Rohit, if you'd like to remind our viewers out there once again, how do you enroll for this conference, and what exactly is your target group? A little bit of details.
Sure. So you can come onto the Slaxcom website, and there you'll see the RPA conference notification. You can click on that, and the registration details are there. And so we're particularly targeting CEOs, CIOs, Chief Operating Officers, and also any of their teams who would like to get educated on this. And I'm hoping students from universities and some of their professors would also attend this program as well. And also Buddhi had mentioned that we're also having case studies being showcased as well. So it's also an opportunity for the corporates and leaders to actually see what's been done in the industry and see...
To hunt for talent.
Hunt for talent, it's number one, and to see what's going on out there in the forum, what are they missing out on.
So there you have it, on the 13th of February at 9 a.m. at the Golf Face Hotel. That's the location. Once again, a big thank you out to Rohit and Buddhi for joining us on our program today, and we do wish you the best of luck for the inaugural RPA conference being held here in Sri Lanka.
And thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming on the show. And thank you very much to all our viewers out there for tuning in. That's it from Biz First in Focus for today. Do take care and God bless.